Okay, so hi everyone. This is Christine McDannell of Social Starfish, and we did the 30-day vlog challenge together. So I've been watching her, and I really wanted to share her with you guys because she has so much energy, and she merges the goals of blogging fearlessly, which is growing your online identity, and Mismorphosis, which is positive thinking and owning your life and taking responsibility into one person and one business. So it's so inspiring. And I just wanted to kind of sum up some of the knowledge I got in those videos and learn a little bit more so that you guys can see her for yourself and start following her. So hello.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Oh, you're so sweet. So first I want to talk about you're such an entrepreneur and you call yourself a serial entrepreneur. How did you get started doing your own businesses? I went to a talk last night with a bunch of women that are run their own businesses. And there's a lot that goes into that. That's very terrifying, but that's also very liberating. So tell me a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey.
Well, it's been my entire life, I must say. I was the girl selling candy bars out of my backpack in school. I had a circus in my garage, my parents' garage, actually. As a kid, charged admission. My poor little sister was like my first employee, and, I'd make her do all the work, and I would take most of the profit. So it's in my blood. My father was a business owner the majority of my life. So I think seeing him not have a boss made me think, well, I don't want a boss either. And what's funny is right out of high school, I went into real estate. I actually had my real estate license and went into corporate with doing property management and loved it, but still felt like something was missing. It was really weird. I couldn't even put my finger on it. I'm like, oh, I love doing real estate and property management, but I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. And it wasn't until I finally quit at age 23 and started my own business, and then it clicked. Like years later, I figured out, oh my gosh, this is what I was meant to do. That's why I felt so weird before. So yeah, that was the beginnings of my journey, I guess.
So last night, this talk I went to, it's still on my mind. It was called Girls Just Want to Have Funds. And it was about when you start your own business.
I love it.
That's the big question. Like, how am I going to have the money to survive? How did you get that courage to leave and to kind of, you have to jump in the deep end. You can't waddle for too long. So how did you get that courage to make that leap?
I'm lucky. I'm fearless. That's just my nature. Like, I'm just a crazy person. I take a lot of risks. I love it. I love the adrenaline you get when you take crazy risks. That's just my nature. So I think I'm lucky in that sense. But yeah, I quit. I had a very well-paying job, but I had an insane amount of credit card debt when I was 23. Nothing saved up, and just boom, quit with like not even looking back. I just jumped off the deep end because I wanted it so bad. So it's like, for me, maybe other people feel the same. If you want something bad enough, you'll just make it happen. That's how I am. So I'm like, you know what? I was bartending at night already just for fun, just to meet people. I'm like, okay, look, if I got to bartend every night, and start my company during the day, to pay the bills, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I did. It was crazy. And my first company was a house cleaning company. And to clean houses all day and bartend all night and then do it all over again every day. Like, it was crazy. But it was fun. I didn't care at the time. I just saw the bigger vision. And I'm fortunate in that sense is that I can definitely see like the bigger picture. And I think that helps for people. When I was literally scrubbing the toilets, I wasn't thinking like, oh, this sucks, I'm scrubbing a toilet. Like, I was thinking, okay, this is what it's going to take. I'm doing it because I'm going to have a huge company, be able to travel, do whatever I want, make tons of money, and other people are going to be doing this part, and then I get to do what I want. So that's kind of how it happened.
So this is interesting because that business and then what you have now, they're largely service businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you go into that figuring it would be scalable and you'd be able to bring people in and things like that? I'd be scared I'm going to get stuck in the service end of everything, the hourly.
Really? Yeah, no, it's all about delegation. So no, since day one I knew, and it's funny, with Cleanology, I wanted 60 employees, 60. 60 was like this magical number that was in my head since day one. I got it up to 34, which that was enough. I'm like, oh, it's crazy to think I wanted 60 employees. I just figured I needed that many to be the largest cleaning company in San Diego County, but actually we were the largest privately owned. anyways, just at that scale. It's all about delegating. It's all about hiring the right people, putting the right person in the right seat on your bus, as Jim Collins says in Good to Great. That's very true. Just, that's the trick. So you can scale it as big as you want. I mean, I was approached to franchise it nationally. I turned that down. I didn't want to go that far into it. But I mean, I could have scaled it nationally. So service is very easy to scale too. I think it intimidates people. I think if you're an independent consultant, that's a little more harder to scale because that's your knowledge and it's hard to teach that to other people. Cleaning is like a trade. You can teach anybody to clean. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what you're thinking, like a photographer, like people with this insane amount of knowledge, that's a little bit harder to scale.
Right. So then how did you make the jump to Social Starfish? How did you pick this area, this arena?
So what grew Cleanology so crazy fast in those 6.5 years was the internet. And was marketing. So that was my favorite hat to wear. From day one, you wear a million hats, I'm sure you know, when you own a business. And my favorite hat was marketing. Always, always, always. Even to the point, at the very end of owning the company, I had all these employees, I had a general manager, I had bookkeepers, everybody did everything. Like literally all I did was sign paychecks and do the marketing. That's it. Like I would not give up the marketing. And it was just funny because I could have given it up and never walked in there, but I love the marketing so much. So I thought, oh my gosh, I could do this marketing for other businesses and help them grow their business. I want to do this piece of the business. I don't want to do, cleaning obviously was never my passion. Business and marketing is. So I want to take those strengths of mine and then help other businesses with them. So that's how I made the jump to Social Starfish, which is a social media firm. It's mainly that's what social media is a lot of it's marketing for businesses.
I think that's such an interesting combination because the people that I talk to get really nervous about using the internet to grow a local business because they think, why am I spending so much time reaching all of these people when I'm local? So you promoted a local business. I mean, you can't, go over to Detroit and clean their house using social media. And I try and explain to people, well, it's your SEO and it's all these different factors, your credibility, your authority. How do you explain that to people that it does matter having an online presence even if everyone you're reaching isn't local?
Well, I mean, gosh, it's so obvious. I mean, a couple years ago, it wasn't so obvious. I think now it's very rare I hear that question or that concern because they know, they see people walking around with these in their hand. I mean, this is how people are finding restaurants, services, products, and they're seeing their friends posting and commenting about these products and services. And it's that whole social proof. I did the video blog on Yelp because Yelp was our #1 source of business. Mm-hmm. Those are strangers writing reviews. Okay. Those people, your friends writing reviews too, but a person will take a stranger's review of a company 10 times over the company. I mean, I could say I have the best company in the world. Of course, I'm going to say that. It's my company. But, for other people, for complete strangers to say it on Yelp and somebody sees that, that's the credibility part you just mentioned. So that's what I would say is just that's the world we live in. It's like, let's find out what everybody else is saying before we, spend our money on this product or service.
So how do you, with your business, since it's not just you, there's other people, and you have to coordinate, and you're dealing with an industry that's moving so quickly, social media. Do you invest in Path, or where do you, everything's always changing. How do you deal with that progression of everything moving so quickly and then still trying to manage a team? So do you give your team strategies, or how does that work? Because I do that stuff myself, which is really easy because as my mind evolves, I just change how I talk to people. But you're managing a team with this stuff that's moving so quickly.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I'm fortunate in the sense I've owned multiple companies, right? Mm-hmm. And mainly it's because I get bored. I get bored very easily. It's like my ADD brain, I don't know, but it's like an insane amount needs to challenge me or else I'm ready to move on. And that's why I love social media because it's constantly evolving. It's constantly changing. So I keep telling myself, I go, this might be a company I could own for the rest of my life because it's changing all the time. So that's easy for me because I can adapt and change really fast. with the changes. With our team, I mean, we just keep them up to date with, we host a lot of webinars and training. And so our staff sees that too. They actually help us put it together. So they have to do the current research. I mean, when we do a webinar, we are literally putting the content together the day of or the day before, because it's like we want like the freshest stuff. Right. So yeah, the staff, they're really great about staying on top of things. Our staff is all younger. I mean, that wasn't planned, but it just seems like they have the passion and they seem to be able to keep up with, how fast it changes. So that helps too, I think. But yeah, I mean, it's been working thus far, but it's definitely fun. It definitely keeps us entertained.
Well, it's perfect for that ADD personality, because for me, I can get overwhelmed. I can do it for a while, but then I go back to like building websites or blogging, things that are slightly more static, or like the craft of blog writing, because it's like it's a little more static. So then I want to talk about, just because I don't want to keep you too long, but I want to talk about your awesome dedication to running, and you just ran a marathon.
I didn't run I felt like a marathon.
17 miles?
It's the rock and roll is on June 3rd.
Okay.
So we're about a month away. And so we ran the most mileage we've done thus far, which was 17 miles on Saturday. So that was I've done a half, which is 13 miles. Yeah. And so, 17 was interesting. And I'm like, okay. And then we're going to do 26 in a month. So I love it though. I love it. It's just made me so much more productive, which you saw in, one of my posts. It's the truth. I cannot believe it. Like I cut out working out for the last 2 years while launching this new company, just because it was taking so much time and effort. And I wish I didn't do that, because it's making me so much more productive when I do fit working out and running, which sounds weird, but it totally sounds contradictory. Like, okay, wait a minute. But yeah, it works.
And in your video, you referenced a big blogger or someone who says that he swims 2 hours a day. What was that
Richard
story?
Branson. Yeah, Richard Branson, who's the CEO of the Virgin brand, Virgin Airline, all that. Like, it's like 300 different companies he owns. And multi-billionaire, owns islands, all that fun stuff. And when I heard that, I was like, if that guy can run 300 companies and he can swim in the ocean it's 2 to 2.5 hours per day. That's his secret to productivity. And the second I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, like light bulb. I was like, I'm going to try this. It's at least worth a try. And it's the truth. You're that much more productive. I can't even explain it. I think it's the endorphins. I think it's, I don't know. I mean, you just can't work too much. You'll burn yourself out and it's counterintuitive, but you just won't be productive.
Mm-hmm. And like between that and then you say you listen to like Tony Robbins, I mean, you have a lot of, personal development stuff. You write in your journal every morning and you look at your goals in the shower and all these things. How do you think that impacts how you manage your team and how you grow your business? There's a big startup mentality of, we all have to work overtime, and it's that Apple, that iPod mentality, and you seem to have the total opposite, yet you have such a successful business. So how do you think that plays a role?
Yeah, well, it's funny. So I'm really big into having interns, and a lot of our interns we've had come from High Tech High. So they're actually juniors in high school. So they're 16-year-olds. And my most recent one, she just finished in, I think her internship just finished a couple months ago, but I gave her a journal. And I said, hey, and I walked her through this is what I do every morning. This is what I write, what I'm grateful for, what my goals are for the year, and then what I'm going to accomplish today. And she loved it. She's like, whoa, this is so cool. So I actually gave it to her because I just thought, oh my gosh, if I was 16 years old and I've been, if I knew to do that back then, oh my gosh, that would have been so much better, because I've only been doing that probably for 2 years, I think. I'm really big into culture. I'm a big fan of Tony Hsieh, Zappos CEO. If anybody's ever in Vegas, please, and I know it's the last thing you're going to want to do while you're in Vegas, but please tour Zappos. Their culture, they do an hour-long tour. Like, it's insanity to see a call center, right, dealing with shoes and products and boring stuff, how much fun they're having. So I'm into like a lifestyle. Like, I'm changing the word work to fun. Like, I even have started to do it. I just was like, oh, I was at fun late last night. And they're like, what's fun? Oh, I mean, and people are like, what are you talking about, fun? I go, I hate the word work because it has this like negative connotation, and it does not feel like work to me. I love what I do. I'm sure you guys can already like sense that. And so, yeah, I don't like the word work. So I almost want to say call it fun and just say, oh, I got to go to work. I got to go to fun. So yeah, that's and I really push that on everybody in our company. It's just like, not working, punching a clock 8 hours a day. It's like, here's what you need to do today. If it takes you 8 hours, okay, it takes you 8 hours. If it takes you 2, great, have fun. Like, as long as the stuff's getting done. So yeah, I think things are changing. Just this time that we're in, this new generation coming up on what work's all about.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think we all finally have the opportunity to say to our boss, I'm not gonna do this. I am gonna go do my own thing. And it's, everyone has opportunities now that we just didn't have before. And then that kind of gives you the freedom to remake the rules a little bit. It's this interesting progression. So if you had to go back to your, I always, so there's one thing that I gear each site to. Metamorphosis is at the end of the day, if I could go back to myself at 17, 18, what would I tell myself? How would I, explain things or process it? And then blogging fearlessly is sort of the same thing, but it's business-wise. So when I especially do these interviews, it's what do you wish you hadn't had to learn the hard way? What makes things easier? So what would be your big messages of if you could go back in time, what would you tell yourself?
Gosh, it's really hard because I know that those experiences, even the bad ones, shaped how I am today. And I'm happy with who I am today and how I run a company. So I'm always like, oh, if I didn't, before I started my company, that very last boss was like nightmare of all nightmare. I mean, I literally had people on my first day pulling me into the break room. Oh my God, you're working for her? Like, you poor thing. I was like, what? This is like my first day. So without all those bad experiences, I don't think it would mold me to be, a cooler boss. What would I want to hear? Yeah, I think I've just been, I can't really truly think. I mean, I've definitely had some crazy stuff happen. Oh my gosh, insane. But at the same time, you almost have to go through that in order to, succeed, really. You have to be burned a couple times. And so, yeah, I just tell her, just go for it. don't let anything stop you.
So then what would you say to all of the people that are in jobs and they hate them
J-O-Bs.
And they're so scared and it's totally work because they're miserable, about the process of leaving and taking that leap? It comes naturally to you, it comes pretty naturally to me. I wasn't capable of biting my tongue long enough, and it was like, well, I got one option here. But to the people that are a little bit more on the fence, what would you say to them about going for it? I mean, do you think it's for everyone? Do you think some people should just stay with what they're doing?
You know what? A really good friend of mine, he's actually a mentor of mine, Henry Evans. He's here in San Diego. He wrote The Hour a Day Entrepreneur. And I have like a zillion copy. I have a couple extra copies even here in the office. But The Hour a Day Entrepreneur, and you could get it on Amazon. It's a great book. And because it's great for somebody that's like on the fence. I mean, this is a guy who had a mortgage. He has a wife that stays home to raise their 2 kids. I mean, and he worked for a software company and made amazing money. Like, could he have just up and left? Probably not. So he did it by working an hour a day at night after his kids went to bed and he did that for, I think, 2 years, I believe. And then now he's making tons of money all on his own. And it's so exciting to watch it. I've known him for years, to see that happen. And but he just published his book earlier this year. So I would recommend that. I mean, it isn't for everybody. Entrepreneurship, and I do tell people that, it is not for the faint of heart. It is, it's crazy for sure. And it's extra crazy if you're just like jumping into it full-fledged. But if you have, and there's people out there, they have kids, they have bills and responsibilities, and they're like, well, I can't just jump into it. An hour a day. I mean, come on. You can cut out one of your favorite TV shows, I'm sure, each night, and you can work on something each night, and you still got your salary and you still got your benefits until it gets to that point, that tipping point where you can quit and then do it full time. So you can always do that.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I think that pretty much answers my questions. You're so full of life. You're just so wonderful to talk to. It's so refreshing. I keep referring to that talk I was at last night, and since it was all women, it's of course like, what do women bring to business? And we do bring different things, and I think you really reflect that of what a successful businesswoman is you don't push down what it is to be yourself and to be a woman. Instead, it's like, I'm bringing this in. This is part of it. And it makes it so much better. It makes a really great company that wouldn't exist otherwise. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for being such an inspiration and being so wonderful. And we'll be following your blog and your site and you have to do more vlogs because I
want to. I was going to do it today. I'm like addicted to it now.
I feel the same way. I feel like, I think I kind of used the fact that it was every day to not feel as guilty if they weren't great. So it's like, I have to do them every day. So now I feel this pressure, like if I do one, it has to be really good because I have to do it. It's like the school feeling. I don't have to turn it in, so it has to be really good. But I think it's got to get over it. I wish we could create our own YouTube channel for the 30-day challenge and we could all keep posting on it or something. Is that possible?
I don't know. That's a good question, though. I mean, definitely to put up everybody's YouTube channel, links, and to actually I've liked a lot of the other channels on Vimeo, so that whenever they post videos, I can see, so I can keep up with everybody. But yeah, it was so much fun, and I think you're right. Having to do it, you just threw one together. Just here it is. But then it got great. People loved it, so you're like, oh, okay. Well, maybe I don't have to make it perfect. That was always my problem, was it has to be perfect.
Oh, I like how the one where my hair's back, I'm wearing flannel, and I'm talking about writer's block before my boyfriend gets home from work, and that's the one that gets 400 views because I put sex in the tags. Like, oh boy.
Oh my gosh. You heard my joke for you, right? Or my last one, I was totally going to put, I'm all about headlines. I mean, marketing's about not being boring. And a good headline will get something opened. So I was going to put, want to get in the shower with me. About
so
my goals that are in the shower. But I was like, oh my gosh. But because of yours, I was like, oh my gosh, if I do that, I don't want that to happen.
Hundreds of comments. I'll see you in the shower. I'd love to be with you in the shower. What's your number, baby? It would have been bad.
So I totally did not title it that, but I was very I would have if you didn't go through what you went through. So see, that was great that you shared that. That's great.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm really hoping we can keep in touch, and I'll give everyone information on how to find you, and thank you so much for doing this.
You are very welcome, Jennifer. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.